Hi guys, I just wanted to do a sample for you to let you know what you need to do for your assessment video. So I've completed the formative quiz and I just want to go through and let you know what I'm expecting you to, how much work I'm expecting you to explain when you actually do your video. So let's take some examples here. All right. For the following figure, find the area of the shaded region and find the perimeter of the shaded region. So what I would want my teacher to know is that I understand that the area of the shaded region is the area of a semicircle subtract the area of a triangle. So I know that to find the area of a semicircle, okay, I'm going to take pi r squared divided by 2. But if I notice in this example, the radius isn't given to me. I actually have to find it. So I'm going to use the dimensions of the right triangle that I'm given. And because it's a right triangle, I can use Pythagorean theorem to figure out that x equals 5. Okay. So once I know x equals 5, I can tell that my radius is going to be half of that. So my radius is 2.5. And I put that in my formula for the area of a circle. And then I have to divide it by 2 because it's a semicircle. For my area of the triangle, I know that my base and height in this triangle are perpendicular. Okay, so I can just multiply 3 times 4 divided by 2 because I know that the base is perpendicular to the height. So I just put that in my calculator and I get 3.8125 to be the area of the shaded region. Now, if I want to find the perimeter of the shaded region, I can just have a look here and I can see that my shaded region is here. So it's kind of like this semicircle, okay, bounded by 2 sides of the triangle, which I know. So I know that the sides of the triangle are 4 and 3. So that's pretty easy, but I have to find half of the circumference of a circle. And I know that the formula for circumference of a circle is pi d. Okay, so I just sub that in here. I know my diameter is 5. I have to divide that by 2 because it's half the circumference of a circle. And when I add that all up, I get 14.85. So guys, for that example, please note that I didn't go through the nitty-gritties of Pythagorean theorem. You don't have to tell me that 4 squared plus 3 squared equals x squared and go through all the steps. You can just generally say that I used Pythagorean theorem here and I got the answer as x equals 5. Okay, so you don't have to explain to me step by step once you've set it up. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. The next one is a volume question. And with a volume question, what I want to do is set up another word equation where I can explain very clearly that the total volume here is going to be the volume of a cylinder plus the volume of half of a sphere. Okay, so what that means is I need to know that the volume of a cylinder is the area of the base times the height. I also need to be clear that the area of the base is a circle in this case with radius 3. Okay, so I have the area of a circle times the height. That gets me 72 pi. For the half sphere, in this case, I have to know that the volume of a sphere is 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. So that's how I got this first part. But then, because it's half a sphere, I need to divide by 2. So the radius here is still 3, and when I work that out, I get 18 pi. Okay, so at any point here, I could have subbed in 3.14, but I waited to do that until the very end. So the volume here, once I compute the calculation 90 pi, the volume is 282.6 centimeters cubed. All right, now for the last one. So in this case, I want to calculate the surface area of the figure, but first I want to draw a net. Okay, so I tried to be really neat with this net. What I noticed is I have a trapezoidal shape, okay, making up the front and back of this. And I have rectangles all the way around elsewhere. So I made sure in my net to try to keep the dimensions sort of on par. And I made sure to include the height in my net. Okay, so I just basically transferred all of the information from the volume into the net. And I also labeled them front, back, top, bottom, and sides, because in my next thing, where I have to actually compute the surface area, I want to reference my net when I use the dimensions. So I also know that the front and back dimensions are the same. They're the same trapezoid. I know that the sides are also the same, but the top and the bottom, they're different from each other. So because these two are the same, I can just multiply the trapezoid by 2 and the rectangle by 2. And to find the area of a trapezoid, I had to use the formula where I add the two bases together. I multiply by the height. In this case, the height is 4.6 feet. And I divide by 2. So I add the two bases together, multiply by 4.6, and divide by 2. And the rest is pretty straightforward because these are all rectangles. I'm just multiplying length times width. So what I do is I just put that all in my calculator. I put in an extra step here just in case I made some calculation errors. It'll be really easy to see. And then I just add them all. And if you'll notice, I did actually make a calculation error. Thank you, Matt Young, for pointing that out. But this guy should not be 50.6. Rather, it should be 55.2. All right, so my final overall answer should actually be 187.2. Okay, so guys, I hope this video was informative to explain to you how much and how little work you need to show. So just keep in mind that I don't need to hear about how your calculator multiplies things together, but what I do need to know is about how you set up your formulas and what formulas you're using and why. Also, what is good to point out is when a height has to be calculated or found for trapezoid or prism, you should also be pointing that out specifically. Okay guys, I hope that was helpful and good luck on your assessment.